Hey, tonight we're going to make risotto, or as my daughter calls it, rice equivalent of mac and cheese. Alright, so here's our stuff to make risotto. Risotto is an Italian kind of rice. It's arboreal rice. It's very starchy, which gives it the creamy consistency we're looking for. Traditional recipe is like a cup of arboreal rice and some onion and 3 to 4 cups of water. Very, very simple, and you saute the onion in a little olive oil. What I like to do is enhance the deepness, the richness of the flavors. You usually do put Parmesan cheese in at the end to finish it, and Parmesan has a lot of umami in it, the Japanese name for savory flavor. So we enhance that by adding a little soy sauce, which also has a lot of umami, and by using chicken stock instead of the traditional water. So I'm just going to cut up our little onion into small, I'm not going to mince it really tiny, but small pieces like this, little dice, small dice, and we're going to saute this up in a minute. Alright, so risotto is one of those foods that's pretty much all about the cooking technique. You can't just chuck it in a pot or the oven and have it go. So one of the tips is to preheat the water or the chicken stock that we're using because we're going to have to add it a little bit at a time and we don't want to cool down the dish. Then we start with a couple tablespoons of olive oil. I'm going to actually throw in a little bonus butter here, which I didn't mention in the opening. And as soon as this melts, we are going to saute the onions. Alright, so our olive oil and butter is ready. And in with the onions, and we just saute these down until they're translucent, but not brown. Back in a minute with that. Alright, so our onions are nice and translucent, and we're going to start doing other stuff before they brown. Next step, in with the arboreal rice. Again, traditional for 3 or 4 people is a cup. Basically what we're trying to do here is toast this up a little. We don't want to make it brown, but we want to heat it up, start releasing some of the nice smells and the nutty flavors, and get it ready to add the stock. What we're going to do with the stock is add it basically about a cup at a time. I'm just using a ladle. And you have to add it in increments, 1 cup at a time until it's all done, or half a cup at a time, doesn't really matter. And you stir it. You have to keep stirring this pretty much almost constantly so that it develops that creamy consistency by releasing the starches. I'm going to put my soy sauce, my little secret, oriental secret, just a little bit directly into my stock to give it that extra layer of umami flavor to the finished risotto. Alright, so watch this. So toast this up a little. It's all heated through. And the first scoop of the stock. And you don't have to stir it every second, but adjust the heat a little so it's not boiling too fast. Turn it down a little bit. So we're going to stir it until this liquid is absorbed, and then we can add our second spoonful or cup, half cupful. Well, we can see the magic starting to happen already. I've stirred it a couple times. It's absorbed the first batch of liquid, and you can just start to see the creaminess coming out of the risotto. So we add another scoop, stir it in, let it boil down a little bit until it's kind of almost dry, and then we're ready for the next scoop. More stirring. See how it's absorbing it? Now you can really see the creaminess coming out. It's almost absorbed the liquid. We go with another scoop. Again, it's just important to keep your eye on this. This is not a dish you can walk away from. You will be rewarded with some creamy goodness in a few minutes. Maybe 15 minutes if you stay with it and keep stirring. Right, so we're right down to our last batch. Here's what it looks like. It's kind of like a porridge or an oatmeal consistency right now. You can see it's really puffed up because it's absorbed all the liquid. This liquid is not boiled off. It's been absorbed into the rice, which is expanded. Here's our last batch of liquid, broth in our case. And we're going to just stir that in right until it's finished, another minute or two. And then to finish it off, we're going to just add some Parmesan. So we'll be back in a minute. We're right down to the end. Like I said, it looks kind of like a porridge. When I stir it, you see there's no more loose liquid at the bottom, which is perfect. So now I'm going to take it off the heat, turn off the heat. And I'm going to throw in, there's half cup of Parmesan. I like a lot of cheese, so I'm going to put in a whole cup, if you don't mind. So here's my other half a cup. You could just do half a cup if you find that too much. And now we just let it sit for a minute or two, and we can serve it. So to plate it, we just scoop it up, put it in a bowl or a plate, whatever we have. A little fresh ground pepper, and if you want a little green garnish, a little parsley. There you go. Risotto, kicked up a notch.